We do want to stay, though, in the Middle East. Today, on the Fox News program Special Report, hosted by anchor Bret, he had an exclusive interview with the Iranian Foreign Minister, talking about their now heavily damaged nuclear enrichment program because of those U.S. and Israeli strikes, and whether or not they could rebound or bounce back from that. So this was a huge get by Bret and his team there. What we want to do right now is play out for you that entire interview. It aired tonight. It's about 15 minutes. Let's watch.
Are you open to direct talks with the Trump administration to try to find a solution that could de-escalate heightened regional tension after all that's happened?
Well, we are open to talks. Not direct for the time being. If they are coming for a win-win solution, I am ready to engage with them. I mean that we are ready to do any confidence-building measure needed to prove that Iran's nuclear program is peaceful and would remain peaceful forever, and Iran would never go for nuclear weapons. And in return, we expect them to lift their sanctions. This is a win-win game, and we are ready to engage in that. We cannot start these negotiations in a direct way. We still prefer indirect negotiations.
Were you truly empowered to make a deal if it came to that? There are people, obviously, who wonder whether you are empowered by the Ayatollah to make such a deal. Are you?
Well, of course I was empowered to make a deal. If you ask me about the negotiations I had with Mr. Witkoff, I think there was a possibility to make a deal. I told Mr. Witkoff very clearly several times that if the purpose of these talks is to achieve a deal in which Iran commits itself permanently not to go for nuclear weapons, that deal is achievable. But if you want to deprive us from our legitimate rights, including, enrichment, that is not going to happen.
But why not import enriched uranium, as other countries do, as part of the deal? Why not do it that way?
Well, because this is an achievement, a scientific achievement that we have been achieved by ourselves. Why we should import something that we can produce by ourselves?
Because you take it past the percentage. You take it to 90% or 60% and instead of 35%.
No. We never go to 90%. We remain committed to below 5% for, to produce fuel for nuclear power plants. And we also enriched up to 20% because we have a research reactor in Tehran, which is called Tehran Research Reactor, TRR. So we are enriching uranium for our own needs. And we once went up to 60%, and that was after the sabotage in our nuclear facilities. And then we, go up to 60%. But I was a negotiator at that time. I told our interlocutors that we immediately go down if a nuclear deal is achieved.
Mr. Foreign Minister, what is the extent of the damage to the nuclear enrichment program after these attacks?
Well, our facilities have been damaged, seriously damaged, the extent of which is now under evaluation by our Atomic Energy Organization. But as far as I know, they are seriously damaged.
Did the already enriched material survive? Is it accessible?
Well, I have no detailed information. As I said, our Atomic Energy Organization is responsible for that. They are now trying to, evaluate what has exactly happened to our nuclear material, to our enriched material, and we will soon inform, the agency IAEA about the exact, that what has exactly happened to our enriched uranium. We have not stopped our cooperation with the agency. We continue working with them. We need a new modality because the facilities have been destroyed.
So you're saying that you may allow UN inspectors back into your country, all the sites, the IAEA to see all the sites?
Well, based on the modality that we come to with the agency, that would be possible, case by case. So any request by the agency to visit any place or to send inspectors or whatever should be carefully considered by our Supreme National Security Council because of the safety and security concerns.
Understanding those concerns, does Iran plan to reconstitute its enrichment program? Is it continuing now, or has the damage been so severe that it is all stopped?
It is now stopped because, yes, damages are serious and severe. But obviously, we cannot give up our enrichment because it is an achievement of our own scientists. And now, more than that, it is a question of national pride. Our enrichment is so dear to us. We are ready to engage into negotiation to make sure that our enrichment is only for peaceful purposes. We prefer a negotiated solution. Right. We are not ready to give up something which is now a matter of dignity for the Iranian people, a matter of national pride. Mm-hmm. So rest assured that we want to continue our enrichment, but of course we prefer a negotiated solution for that.
Mr. Minister, with all due respect, obviously it's not just the U.S. and Israel, but other world leaders who have concerns about the enrichment program. Why would you need to put it a half mile under a mountain facility to protect it if it was a completely peaceful program? That's just some of the thoughts about it. Secondly, President Trump has said he would not hesitate to launch more strikes if Iran tries to rebuild its enrichment program. So what's your response to President Trump?
Because of the, constant threats by Israelis, by, the United States in the past, we had no way but to protect our facilities and to protect our material and protect our scientists. So my message to the United States is that let's go for a negotiated solution for Iran's nuclear program. And we did that in the past, in 2015, after 2.5 years of negotiation, in which I was a negotiator myself. We came to that solution. That was called JCPOA, or Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Maybe the current administration doesn't like that, but we can come to a similar deal, a better deal than that. I think that was proved that there is no military option to destroy our nuclear program. Yes, facilities have been destroyed. They are severely destroyed, but the technology is there. Our nuclear program, our enrichment program is not something imported from outside that can be destroyed by bombings. It is developed by ourselves. It is an achievement by ourselves. The technology is there. The scientists are there. The people who have run these facilities are there. Buildings can be rebuilt. Facilities can be rebuilt. Machines can be, replaced because the technology is there. I think the recent attack proved that there is no military option for our nuclear program. But I tell you, there is a negotiated solution for our nuclear program. We have done it once in the past. We are ready to do it once again.
Mr. Minister, if you'll stand by, please. More with the Foreign Minister from Iran after this. How would you describe the state of Iran's missile program? Hundreds were used during the war with Israel, many destroyed. How would you describe the state of that?
Well, I think we are in a good shape right now. The capability is still there. Our missiles are our most reliable means of defense. So we continue our missile program. Right now, it's still in a very good shape. We have a good number of missiles to defend ourselves.
Is the Ayatollah in good health? We haven't heard from him in a long time.
I met him today. He's in a very good shape and in a very good health. And I think, the whole system in Iran is quite stable and strong.
Mr. Minister, is Iran currently trying to assassinate President Trump, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, former Ambassador John Bolton, and other Trump administration officials in the wake of the death of Qasem Soleimani?
No, we have never said that. Maybe some individuals here or there have said things like that, but that has never been Iran's official position.
Mr. Minister, the Ayatollah has said death to America, and that means death to Trump. That is from the Supreme Leader. The New York Post had the Iranian fatwa crowdfunding effort, claims to have raised $40 million for bounty on President Trump's head. The campaign, organized by a group known as the Blood Covenant, comes after multiple Iranian clerics issued fatwas or death warrants against Trump. So you can see why the administration is looking at some of these signals, saying that you are doing that.
No, I think they are all propagandas. We have always said, the Supreme Leader and other officials in Iran have always said that death to America is in fact death to the, hegemonic policies of the United States, not to the people of United States. Yes, there are some perhaps radicals, persons or groups here and there in different places, inside, outside of Iran, who may say something like what you said, but that has never been our policy, and they will never be in our policy in the future. This is not our policy to kill anybody outside Iran, let alone the president of another country.
With all due respect, you're supplying arms and drones and missiles to Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. The Houthis are firing on U.S. and international ships. Obviously, the actions of Hamas and Hezbollah, no matter what you say their motivation is, are causing death, and efforts like that, and you're supporting all of those groups, your proxies.
Well, I'm not going to compare, but what you said is exactly what Americans and Israelis are doing. The United States have supported Israel with all kinds of weapons, sophisticated weapons, to kill people in Palestine, in Gaza, in the West Bank, in Lebanon, in Syria, now in Iran, and in Yemen. We believe that those freedom fighters, let me say, Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, they are fighting for a just cause, and we have always supported them politically and in other ways, because we think that they are, as I said, fighting for something absolutely legitimate.
Even if that fighting, in their words, is about wiping Israel off the face of the map.
Well, if we have never said that.
They have.
Well, that is up to them. They are fighting for their own homeland, so they may say anything. But this has never been Iran's policy to wipe out Israel from the map.
Do you plan to continue to support Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis?
We continue to support them as long as they are supporting for their cause, for their justified demands.
But those are not justified demands, Mr. Minister. Annihilating Israel, wiping them off the face of the earth, that's what their pledge is.
I think Palestinians are fighting for their right for self-determination. Israel has made out of occupation, out of occupation of Palestinians' lands, out of the massacre of Palestinians in their homelands.
Let me wrap up with this, and we really appreciate the time and you coming on to talk about this. The message you've sent here is that you think a negotiated settlement is possible. You're sending a message of peace, you say, in your words. But the enrichment, stopping enrichment inside Iran is a non-starter. It is a red line for Iran. Is that what you're communicating today?
If the goal is to make sure that Iran will never have nuclear weapons, that is achievable. But if the goal is to deprive Iran from its right, including the right of enrichment, I think we have difficulty. Enrichment is now stopped because our facilities have been under attacks, but any settlement for Iran's nuclear program should include enrichment in the future, because that is our right. We can never give it up.
And if the deal included something about a reduction in missile production or a reduction in funding for terrorist proxies who you call freedom fighters, could that be also part of a deal?
Well, on our missiles, as I said, that is our most reliable means of defense. How we can disarm ourselves? Who can accept any deal like that? So we will never disarm ourselves, but I can tell you that our missiles have deterrent nature. They are for defense, they are not for offense. And also, I can assure you that Iran's missiles would never have a nuclear warhead. That is for sure.
And lastly, can you envision a time where you would have direct talks with either President Trump or the Trump administration?
Well, not for the time being, but maybe in the future. Everything depends if the United States is ready to deal with Iran on an equal footing, on mutual respect, and based on mutual interests. We are ready to continue on other subjects. But unfortunately, the JCPOA or the previous deal didn't become a successful story, didn't become a successful experience for us. And this is why we are very skeptical with Americans right now. This is why we are not ready to engage with them directly. But the moment we feel that everything is in the right order, then everything is possible.
Mr. Foreign Minister, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, and we'd love to have you back as things move forward.
My pleasure. Thank you for
Okay, so that had a lot of news in it. Some of the headlines there, you heard the last question, the Iranian foreign minister saying now is not the time for direct talks between the U.S. and Iran, but acknowledging, and this was really the main lead of that incredible interview, the Iranian foreign minister acknowledging that the U.S. strikes on those nuclear facilities heavily damaged the very facilities in question here. So quite the acknowledgement, quite the statement from Iranian officials. Well, President Trump also weighing in on this interview, live picture there at the White House. He posted on Truth Social today saying this after that interview aired live, saying Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi on the Iran nuclear sites, damages are very severe. They are destroyed. He says, of course they are, just like I said, and we will do it again if necessary, as interviewed by Bret. Fake news CNN, he says, should immediately fire their phony reporter and apologize to me and the great pilots who obliterated Iran's nuclear sites. CNN is a major ratings loser, as is MSDNC. So he's referring to a report, remember, by CNN's Natasha Bertrand that called into question some of the intelligence on whether or not these nuclear sites were heavily damaged and whether or not Iran's nuclear weapons program was heavily curtailed in the wake of these strikes there by those U.S. bunker buster bombs dropped from those B-52 planes.